Welcome to Business One-to-Ones with OJ Lopez, and the Business One-to-Ones is a web show about your local entrepreneurs and their businesses, starting with the members of my very own BNI investment chapter. We want to know more about their businesses and professions, and we figured to document the conversations because it might give value to many businesses, especially those who supply a current need, and also for those aspiring entrepreneurs as well. So for this episode is presented by Remax Pro.
Do you need help in selling or leasing your premium property? Do you plan to invest in a home for your family? Or a property investment that can grow your money? For all your real estate needs, let Remax Pro help you, the world's #1 real estate brand. With a global network of more than 120,000 agents and over 8,000 offices worldwide.
And we are now in Cebu.
Visit Remax Pro office at City Times Square 2, across Park Mall, or send us a message here, like our Facebook page to get updates and for future reference.
So right now, let's start our episode. So our guest for this episode is a graduate of University of San Carlos, both for his undergrad and her law school. She's currently the Vice President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines Cebu chapter and the Chairwoman of the Committee on Children and Gender Equality. She is known for her passion to serve the poor by spreading knowledge of the law to the grassroots. Her advocacies, among others, is anti-bullying, anti-voyeurism law, and violence against women and their children law. So without further ado, let's welcome Attorney Cheryl M. Palacao-Condat, as we fondly call her Attorney Pam. Welcome to the show, Attorney Pam.
Hi, OJ. Thank you for having me. Maayong adlaw sa tanan.
Maayong adlaw. And all right, so let's get right into it. So every week we are actually in our BNI meetings, our members are given the chance to present their businesses. And at this point, please introduce yourself, Attorney Pam.
Hi, everybody. I'm Attorney Cheryl Condat. Actually, Pam is my nickname. It's a long story, but I am most commonly known as Attorney Pam. I'm currently affiliated with two organizations, IBP Cebu and the Cebu Lady Lawyers Association Incorporated. Business-wise, I am one of the owners of Zenith Business Consultancy, located in Mandawi City, and I am the managing partner of Mendoza Palacao-Condat Law Office with 2 offices in Liloan, Cebu, and the other one is also in Mandawi. I am already 10 years as a practicing lawyer. I've tried government, a 1-year stint, and now I am venturing on my own through my firm and the consultancy business.
All right. So glad to know more about you, Attorney. But let's get a little bit of history to know you better. And I think the first thing that I want to ask you after that one is, did you always wanted to become a lawyer? And how did you start, dreaming about being a lawyer and go through it after law school, and how did you start your business?
Okay, actually, I celebrated my 10th year anniversary as a lawyer.
Congratulations.
Yes, it was 2 days ago that we signed the roll of attorneys. So it doesn't mean that one passed the bar, they are automatically lawyers. They have to sign the roll of attorneys. So that's the mark that you're a lawyer already. So April 29 was the day I signed the role 10 years ago. So it's not really at the beginning, it's not my dream to become a lawyer. Like many Filipinos, it's the dream of the family. And then I wanted to make my dad happy. So I enrolled in law school. So the first year was a struggle because it's not my passion. And then I met friends, I met people that I can connect with, and we help each other. So the second, third, and fourth year of law school is not that hard, and eventually, just one step at a time, and I finished uh, law school. So initially, it's not my goal. It's very common actually among the Filipinos. Then I eventually like it.
All right. Okay, so how about for those? Oh, this is very relevant, especially for those people who are just going to graduate college, or even who are undergrads who are thinking to going to law school and pursuing a career in law. What can you advise them, uh, especially those young people who are seriously considering, going into your profession?
Just do it. So I have met a lot of people who told me that they wanted to enroll, but they couldn't enroll because of the traffic, because they are full-time employees, because they have family. Maybe next year, maybe next semester they will enroll, but eventually they will never enroll. You just have to enroll. Just do it. And then you just think, I'll finish one semester at a time. Because if you think about the entire 4 years and 6 months of review, it's heavy, it's overwhelming. So you must think of it, it's like slicing the problem. So you just think, I'll just finish first year, first semester. And when you finish that semester, you will say, okay, I'll enroll for the second semester. Before you know it, you're already in the fourth year and you're graduating. So just enroll, just do it. You can find time, you can find money, and you will find support.
All right. How about for those who just recently passed the bar, right? So it was in the news lately about the new lawyers that will be embarking on this profession. I was as a lawyer of 10 years. Uh, what can you advise them? Like you mentioned that you ventured to government at first, and then eventually get into your own law practice. So of course, everybody has their different routes, right? So how about you for your journey as a lawyer? What can you advise these people who just recently passed the bar?
First is be humble. People will admire us because we are humble. Do not let it get into your head that you're a lawyer. So do not treat people still the same. Do not feel that you deserve to be treated special because you're a lawyer. Honestly, when I meet people, I don't tell them I'm a lawyer. When I introduce myself, I tell them I'm Pam. When I tell people I'm a lawyer, when I have to represent myself as a lawyer, like meeting the lawyer of another client. So when people see that you're humble, you will get respect, and respect is better than attention. So that's really important. Respect is, it's lifetime. Attention is fleeting. So first is humility, and then work hard. Do not do not think that um, you can work harder in the next year or the next year. You have your youth now, you have your energy, you have the time. You must work like a horse for your first 3 years in practice because that's very important. Find a good mentor. Do not seek for value yet. I mean, the financial value, don't go for that yet. It's like going to an on-job training when you're with your mentor, and what you get in your first 3 years in practice is very useful for the rest of your career. So just, and also be courageous, do not give up. You will be humiliated, especially in court. That's the reason why we have PUSIL in law school, because we are trained to face that kind of question and answer, or um, debate when we're already in court. Just, you know, brush it off and then stand up and do another court hearing the next day. Just be courageous. That's
All
it.
right. Great advice. Great advice. So to all my friends who just passed the bar, listen to Attorney Pam. All right. So let's go into a more intense topic, but very relevant, especially to small and micro businesses. I mean, even large businesses are affected by this. And I'm talking about the COVID-19 pandemic. And now it's affecting the business community in general. And for you, Attorney Pam, uh, obviously, everybody's been affected by it. And uh, what are you doing to mitigate its effects, and how it is really affecting your business?
Yeah, actually, I think other than food and delivery, supermarket also, all businesses are affected by this pandemic. You know, at this time, I really appreciate technology. So without Zoom, we cannot do this, what we're doing now. We cannot have that weekly meeting with our BNI family. It's emails, even Facebook, uh, all other communications through online. It's very important now. I really appreciate the internet and that it didn't fail us at this time. So for my business, there's no court hearing, so it's difficult really. I cannot cross border. I have a client whose driver was arrested for alleged violation of a checkpoint. I cannot go to Cebu City, so everything was done by phone, and then of course by text messages. Then I'm just there when they need me. So there's a client who asked me to draft a document for them, and they really need it. So as soon as they called, I got into the laptop right away. It's like giving them business as if there's no pandemic. Because life right now is already very stressful, and I don't want to delay it more or give my clients more stress. So when they come to me, I have to be responsive right away to them.
All right. Okay, so you mentioned that you have a client that was arrested during the checkpoint. So if you are being arrested at a checkpoint, what is the best course of action to take? Aside from calling your lawyer, of course.
Because actually at that time, there is no way for when they called me, he was already arrested. So they're not already in the checkpoint, they are already in the police station, and the driver is already inside the jail. So of course we follow up. I gave them idea what's going to happen, because it's their first time. And because when it's your first time, you get scared. So I told them that actually it's a very small offense. It's not like murder or rape that you cannot get clearances or the bail will be up to 100,000. It's a small offense. Do not overthink. What's important is to stay alive and to get out of jail the soonest. So we keep on making follow-ups with the prosecutor's office for the information, so that the driver can post bail. And then when once the court opens, we will see things through when the court opens, because right now it's suspended. All court matters except for very urgent matters are suspended.
Okay, all right.
So
So
it's all about just giving them the right information for them to calm down.
Yeah. Okay, so when you are on a checkpoint and then the officer or the barangay officials are looking into you, and so so what violations can even be done during the checkpoint? So what can you like? What are the rights that you have when you are going to a checkpoint? This is very relevant, right now, especially there's a lot of even barangay checkpoints, right? Just going out of our village, receiving a checkpoint, asking me, if where am I going? So, diba? So are there? So what are? Oh, how shall I go about this? So is that even Yeah,
How do you protect yourself?
right, right.
Yeah, what you follow the rules. The rule says there should be a quarantine pass, a vehicle pass. You should be wearing mask. So if you violated any of those rules, is really nothing we can do. But apologize, tell them you will not do it again. But sometimes the apprehending officer is very strict, so for that particular client, it's the Article 151 or the disobedience that's filed against the driver. So, but if you are just kind, you talk courteously, politely to the arresting officer, our police are also very kind. So probably there have been a misunderstanding. That's why it happened. But as long as you have all documents needed, you have nothing to worry.
How about those who are taking, recording themselves so that they have evidence? Does that even?
It's okay. It's okay. It's not there's nothing wrong with that unless you do it in a private place. For example, you bombard inside a private room and then you take a video of people inside. So that's wrong. But if you're in a public place like a plaza, the street, and you take a video, then go ahead. As long as you're not intruding into the private space of somebody, like pointing the cell phone in their faces. That's already harassing the police officer. But what I would suggest is to ask for permission that, sir, I'll be taking a video. And if they will not agree, then you ask, may I ask why you will not agree with the taking of the video? Then take the video anyways, because that's a public place.
Okay, so very great information. Even for me, I would be able.
The evidence, the court is evidence based, so it's really important to have evidence. Otherwise, it's your word versus the word of a police officer, and the police officer is presumed to be performing their duties in accordance with their duties. So better have that evidence ready. If possible, when you go out, like have somebody with you so that they you have a witness. So witness is still an evidence.
All right. So
Right.
with that, let's talk more about your company and of course the services that you offer for those who are seeking legal assistance. So what does so what is Zenith Consultancy and the Mendoza Palacao-Condat firm? So what's the difference between the two of them?
Zenith Consultancy is more on the business aspect. For example, SAC registration, amendment, you wanted to apply for DNR compliances or PEZA accreditation. So anything business related, you wanted to put up a business, we in Zenith Consultancy can help you. Whereas in the law office, where I am the managing partner, because in Zenith Consultancy, there are four of us, but in the law office, there's just few, just the lawyers, because again, in the Zenith Consultancy, we have an engineer also. So he handles DNR and does the compliances, etc. In the law office, personally, I am a civil and a corporate lawyer. So for the civil aspect, I help out clients who have problems with debts. So they need to collect money from their debtors, from um, those that owe them money, or investors that didn't give investment when it's needed, or in the conduct of the business. So there's a violation by an employee to the company rules, and we need to file a case against this particular employee, like a estafa or theft. That's very common in the workplace. So that is where the law office comes in, including also in the civil aspect are family matters like annulment, adoption, land title, what else, support, and I handle few criminal cases like, of course, the estafa, the theft, because that's really related to my retainers' problems. But also for the criminal aspect is the violation against women and their children law, which is VAUSI, because that's my advocacy. In life, you really need to take up an advocacy because it gives you that sense of purpose that no money can ever replace. So I provide pro bono cases to indigent clients, and of course to others I help them out also. That's it.
So how soon, because I'm part of the startup community in Cebu, right? So there are a lot of tech startups there who are starting their businesses, and most of us are even I mean, some of them are just out of college, or because they have this really great idea about tech, so they're really techy, and then they want to put up a company. And uh, how soon do you need legal representation, for your company, especially in the tech industry, where it's very, very uh, the IP is very important, and things of that nature, and of course setting up your corporation as early as possible, because of course in the tech community, we always ask for seed investment right away. There are a lot of angel investors that are looking into tech products and services, who they wanted to invest as well. So and in the startup world, we always have this ideation. If you're still an idea, or you're already prototyping, or you're already a viable business and have your first few clients. So when is it uh, best to talk to a lawyer in those early startup stages?
Okay, I like that question because this is the common mistake of Filipino entrepreneurs. They only talk to lawyers when they have problem. Actually, you need your lawyer before you have the problem. The purpose of the lawyer is for you to avoid the problem, not for you to solve the problem. But that's really common because they think that they can do it on their own, and when the time comes that they need a lawyer, they are spending more actually. So if you research into big firms, big businesses, they always have one major characteristic, common characteristic is that they already engage a lawyer at the onset. So for startup, for the young entrepreneurs out there, I usually ask them, do you want to go immediately to a corporation, or do you want to go first as a sole proprietorship? Because you can still do a business as a sole prop, and then we will draft investment agreements with the investors. But it depends on the setting, because there are times that investors wanted to take part in the management of the company. So if that's the case, then they're not investors, they are shareholders because they have active participation. So if that's the case, we can draft an investment agreement that is of that situation. You phrase it in such a way that they have managerial power, or better yet, go to SEC for company registration. So with now we have two, one person corporation, two, three, four-person corporation, and it's actually up to 15 incorporators to create a corporation. But of course, later on, you can, as your business grows, you can increase the number of shareholders. So whether it's a, what's good is a sole prop or it's a corporation, it's a big discussion. It depends on your money. It depends on the role that will be played by everybody. So when I say it depends on your money, it's not how much you're putting up to start a corporation. It's how much you will be earning, because it will matter with your reportorial requirements. So that's it. That's what I will tell them. And if you want to protect your relationship, because initially your investors will be your family, will be your close friends. This is what I always tell them. If you love your friends and you wanted to continue your relationship with them, have everything written. Because if it's written, it is not prone to misinterpretation. It will not be, diba, you said that, and then the other one will say, no, I forgot, because honestly, they forgot. It's not because they have evil intent. They forgot that they agreed to certain terms. But if it's written, you can always go back to your written document, and then you will check there if you made a mistake or not, or somebody breached your contract, and then you can tell them, bye, sasayop man ka, that's wrong. Because based on our agreement, this is what we should do. So it will not be offensive to the other shareholder, because you have everything written. So basically, if you value your relationship with your family, with your friends, anybody who will invest in your company, have everything written like a Bible.
Wow. That's very useful, especially to know our community, our startup community. That's the usual things that we talk about. When to lawyer up. But as you have mentioned, at the very beginning, it's already very crucial that you are already talking to a lawyer to avoid problems, rather than to get a lawyer to fix problems. You better get a lawyer to avoid them. So that's
Actually, so when you gather as investors, so these are one of the things that you will be considering, that there's a part of the operating expense or your startup expense will be consulting a lawyer. And because people get intimidated when they think of lawyers, maybe that's very expensive, etc., etc. Actually, it depends on how comprehensive the meeting is. So if it's a short meeting that the lawyer don't need to research on it, then it will not be expensive. But of course, if the question will entail for the lawyer to research for a day and then gather all materials, then he or she will send that proposal to you first before she will continue with the conduct of work.
Yeah. And there's also uh, uh, this trend of startups incorporating in Hong Kong or Singapore, but operating here in the Philippines, because they said that it's more attractive to investors if you are not a Philippine based company. So what's your take on that?
You still, for me, if I am an investor, I'd rather invest in a Philippine company, because if there's a problem, I can get the documents in the Philippine office. So if it's a government established company, if they will run with my money, how will I get the documents to file cases against them? So it's like investing in let's say you wanted to invest in a property. So, and then you invested a property in Hawaii and you don't go to Hawaii. So years after, somebody is living in your property without you knowing. So as much as possible, where you put your money, you can track the people that's handling your money than those abroad. And besides, even if they are registered abroad, they still have to get documents here in the Philippines. But that's really difficult, because the purpose of Philippine registration is to protect Filipinos. So, for example, you have a Singaporean who conducts business in the Philippines and you invest money in that, then they will leave the country. How will you pursue? You will go to Singapore to file a case. But if they registered, that Singaporean came here to the Philippines, then the Philippine government made sure that they are conducting legitimate business. So actually, registration in the Philippines is filtering the scammers from the not scammers. So it's, for me, I'd rather go for a business that has been registered in the Philippines.
All right. So yeah, at this point, let's talk about our BNI family, and because we're actually doing this for our audience who will be watching the show, uh, we are doing or conducting this one-to-one because we're members of this organization called the Business Network International. We are encouraged to know more about our members and their businesses. So at this point, Attorney Pam, why did you join BNI?
When I joined, actually, I was invited by DB Tilio. When I joined, I just started my firm. So I was an associate for, I think, 6 years. And in my 7th year as lawyer, I decided to set up my own firm. I was still less than a year in business, and then DB invited me. And DB talk about, meeting new people, learning from them. And then at that time, when I joined, I was so eager to meet new people because I am on my own. And then I learned a lot from them. I learned their businesses, things that I would have never learned if I didn't join BNI. So it's really at first just meeting. And then I enjoyed, because the group is so much fun. And then they give you business also. So it's like, it's like barkada with money. So I enjoyed, I stayed. I'm in BNI for 2 years now.
All right. So, and then the core reasons for one-to-one is to actually do this gains exchange. So at this point, we're gonna do this to make it an official one-to-one, and we can actually put this in our BNI Connect. And, all right. So for gains, gains is an acronym for goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. So for letter G, Tony Pam, what are your goals for your business or for your professional career on the short term and on the long term?
For the goal, well, of course, I wanted to expand. So I have now 3 staff. Actually, when I started with BNI, I only have a secretary. Then business started to come in. I brought in an associate, and now we are already 4 in the office. So I added two more. So, the business expanded. So short term, of course, I wanted to add more people to the office because I wanted to mentor the young ones, and it really feels good to help the new lawyers. For the long term, I wanted to get more clients, expand, add one or two branches of the business, and maintain clients, because the maintaining clients is as good as getting another one, because they refer you to another client.
Right. And for letter A, which stands for accomplishments. So what do you consider that you have already accomplished in your career and or business?
So Madoy, I don't know. I don't yet feel. I think setting up my own office, it's very courageous. So that's my accomplishment for now. But I feel there is so much more that I can do. So I the office, and maintaining it for more than 2 years now. That's my accomplishment.
Okay. All right. So letter I stands for interest. I saw your Facebook. You dance all over the streets during sinulog and things of that nature. So aside from being, a lawyer, what are your other hobbies and interests?
But lately, because of the quarantine, I realized that I'm a master chef. I now bake for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then because there's no open salon anywhere, so I also cut hairs. If you observe, I have a short hair now. But my interest really, if somebody will ask me, if you're not a lawyer and if you have the luxury to choose what profession you would be doing, I'd say I want to be a dancer. So dancing in the sinulog and other activities in my organizations where I get to dance, I take advantage. It's one of the things that makes me, you know, free. I'm so passionate with that. But unlike other people, some doesn't have that choice. So my father prefers lawyering than dancing because he thinks dancing is not a real job. But so that's my passion. And then I like animals. I have three dogs. I have one cat. Then I like helping out. I read this somewhere. Um, Helping is like drugs. It makes you high, but without the hangover. So every time you help, it doesn't let go. It feels so good. That's
that's,
my
that's, that's a quotable quote. It makes you high but no hangover.
answer.
All right.
I
Okay,
think
so
it's a blogger. I wanted to quote her. Laura Larry, I think. Oh no, my God, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But
right.
she's a blogger.
We'll put that on the show notes.
Yes,
Right.
it is.
And right for letter N, it stands for network. So what current networks do you currently have or had in the past that you can also open up to our BNI members as referrals?
Well, of course, we need additional lawyer in the BNI family. So I still keep on asking my lawyer friends to join us. So there are already some who agreed, because we have different aspects, diba? I handle civil and corporate law. I believe if we have another two or three more lawyers in BNI family, it would be so much fun. Of course, my retainers, I have security agency, I have schools, I have food industry, I have brokerage. I can bring this network into BNI, and these businesses have their own networks also that they can bring to BNI.
All right. So for the last letter, which is S, that stands for skills. What are your current skills right now, and what are the skills that you want to further develop?
Okay, for skills, is dancing a one? Does it count?
Of
for the
course.
for the skills, I think I am highly sociable. It's easy for me to talk to people. I am extrovert actually. So the pandemic and the whole quarantine is really difficult for an extrovert like myself. So being sociable, easily mingle with people is a skill that I possess. And then I do research. I don't get scared when I'm given a particular task. Di ba in BNI we have that you accept it and then learn it later. You don't say
Right.
no to opportunities. Accept and learn it later. So that's one of the things that's really good characteristic of mine.
All right. Okay, so there you have it, our gains exchange. So this is an official one-to-one.
Yeah.
So we have so we have a very interesting conversation so far. We have actually we have time for one last question, and I wanted to be inspirational to leave our audience with something to aspire to. So the question is, what lessons in life or in business would you want to share to young people, or even aspiring entrepreneurs who wants to have a successful career or a successful business?
Okay. I thought about this, and what I realized is that your clients will see through you, even in, in your relationship, in friendship, in BNI, in your with your clients. You must be sincere and you must be authentic. When your clients will see that you're faking it, when you fake sincerity, when you fake work, the clients will see the kind of output that you put out there. But when your clients will see sincerity and authenticity, there are so many lawyers out there, but these clients stick with you because they see how authentic you are and they stay. So be authentic, be real, be sincere, and give it your best all the time.
All right, so there you have it, attorney Cheryl Palacao-Condat. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
being on the show.
Tony. Salamat.
Thank you.